Hello everybody, my name is Mr. Hooper. If you haven't figured that out by now, you're in a lot of trouble because we just did the whole trimester of videos. This is the last one, it's part 2. You are going to be done watching videos. For me, that's the great news. Bad news is you have a final to take. So, let's do some of this stuff. So we left you with solving quadratics. So we're going to do a couple of them together, and then we're going to do a couple word problems. This one, I believe, is number 2 or 3 on the front. You got to get this to equal 0. So remember, to get this to equal 0, we're going to minus 25 to both sides. Now our new equation is something like this. Alright, that's awesome because now I have A equals 1, B equals -2, and C to equal -25. Great news about that. My equation is -b, so I have a plus x equals square root b squared, so -2 squared plus, I don't even know the equation today, it's minus 4ac, so minus 4, a is 1, c is -25. Okay, divided by 2a, so the whole thing, 2a is 1. Could have just wrote 2 there, but that's alright. 2 plus or minus. So here's what I need to do. -2 squared is 4 plus 100. Okay? Divided by 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, that shouldn't be too bad. You should be pretty comfortable with 2 plus or minus the square root of 104 divided by 2. I'm going to go up here, top right. So I'm going to have x equals 2 plus or minus 10.2, all divided by 2. There's a couple ways to do this part. I would break it, you could divide by 2 here, but let's just break it into our 2. Alright? You're going to have 2, x equals, you're going to get confused. X equals 2 plus 10.2 divided by 2, and x equals 2 minus 10.2 divided by 2. X equals 12.2 divided by 2. X equals 6.1. X equals -8.2 divided by 2. And x equals 4.1. -4.1. Hey, we got a new first. I wrote sideways on the board. So we got x equals 4.1 and x equals 6.1. If it's confusing, tell your iPad a little bit, you'll be able to read it. Alright. Next one. 0 equals -2x plus 3 minus 4x squared. Here's the deal. The first thing you should notice about this is actually not in standard form. What I used to do to make it less confusing is rewrite this on the other side of the equals. So you could either rewrite this as 0 equals -4x squared minus 2x plus 3. If you want to leave it on that side of equals, that's fine. To do this problem, I have a equals -4, b equals -2, c equals 3. So, to do this problem, I caught my mistake. On your paper, you have a -3. So, that one looks a little bit goofy. When I see this, this is what I was talking about. This on your paper is -2x minus 3 minus 4x squared. They're all negative. What I used to do when I was in high school, you guys can do this if you want, I used to just move them all to the other side. Right? So I would have just wrote plus 4x squared over here plus 2x plus 3. And all these would have canceled out. And now I'd have 4x squared plus 2x plus 3 equal to 0. Make sure you know I changed this right here to a -3 because that's what's in your notes. Okay? Now from here, you have a equals 4, b equals 2, c equals 3. Now I can do my formula. I have -b plus or minus b squared, which is 2, plus minus 4 times 4 times 3 divided by 2 times 4. If I do that again, I got negative 2 plus or minus 4 minus 4 times 4 is 16, 48 over 8. I can see already, looking real close at that, that's going to be negative 2 plus or minus the square root of negative 44 all over 8. Can I do that? No, somebody better yell no, 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 no. Alright, so here's the deal. This goes to no solution, so the whole answer is no solution. Okay? Make sure you understand that. I don't want anybody getting confused on us tomorrow. Next, 6. Our function notation's back. That's alright. We're just going to write it as 0 equals negative 8x squared plus 10x. This is function notation. Alright, if you need to know that vocab word, that's perfect. 9 times out of 10, it's 0. Or it is always 0. One thing I would do here is I'd write plus 0 on the end. Because now you know A is equal to negative 8. This is 8. B is equal to 10. And C is equal to 0. So then when I would do my formula, negative B is negative 10 plus or minus the square root of 10 squared minus 4 times negative 8 times 0 divided by 2 times negative 8. These are going to equal my x's. My x's equal negative 10 plus or minus. Well, this is going to be 100 minus 0 actually, divided by negative 16. This is going to be excuse me, x equals 10, negative 10, plus or minus. Well, the square root of 100 minus 0 is just 100. So the square root of 100 is 10 all over negative 16. So I have x equals negative 10 plus 10 over negative 16. And x equals negative 10 minus 10 over negative 16. I like this one more. X equals 0 divided by negative 16. 0 equals x. And this one's going to be x equals negative 20 divided by negative 16. I could divide those. These would become positive. Divide them both by 4. That's 5/4. So x equals 0 and 5/4. Remember, I don't care how you do it. If you circle 2, that's fine. Okay, that's a good problem too. Okay, you should really, this note should be just you checking your understanding, making sure you can do it on your own now. So this power tower ride at Valley Fair take riders to the top of a tower and drops them 60 feet at speeds reaching 80 feet per second. That sounds like a bunch of extra information. Let's read the question. A function that models this ride is h equals negative 6 t squared plus 8et plus 60, where h is the height in feet and t is the time in seconds. About how many seconds, so we're looking for time, so it takes for riders to drop from 60 feet to 0 feet. So their height goes from 60 to 0. In other words, our height is just going to be 0. That doesn't work. How about this green? Equals, if h is height, I need to find it when height equals 0. So this actually turns out to be pretty nice because I just got to use my quadratic formula. The reason I'm going to do my quadratic formula is I don't want to factor with those negative numbers. So if I do negative b, I have negative 80, plus or minus b squared minus 4ac. So 80 squared minus 4. A is negative 16, and C here is 60. All divided by 2A, so 2 times negative 16. I'm alright with that. If you don't have a calculator by now, you made it through the whole class without a calculator, congratulations. You do not or cannot know how to multiply all this without borrowing one. Negative 80 plus or minus. So I got my calculator out. I did this. I got 80 squared is 6,400 plus 3,840. I made it plus because I knew negative 4 here times negative 16. I just underlined it. That's going to make it a plus. So I got that. And then 2 times 16 is negative 32. Go one step farther. I'm going to do x equals, what am I doing here? Make sure you have x equals negative 80 plus or minus. This is the square root of 1,240, all divided by negative 32. So x equals negative 80 plus or minus 101.2 divided by negative 32. Here's what we got. We have x equals negative 80 plus 101.2 divided by negative 32. If I solve that, I'm going to have x equals 21.2 divided by negative 32, and x equals negative 0.6. That's a 6. So my other option is x equals negative 80 minus 101.2 divided by negative 32. I like that already because x equals negative 181.2 divided by negative 32. X equals 5.66. If I scroll up, I'm not going to scroll up. If you read the question again on the top of your paper in number 7, it says about how many seconds does it take for the riders to drop from 60 feet to 0 feet. I should have read the other sentence before that. A function that models this ride, blankety blank blank, where h is the height and t is the time in seconds. H we plugged in as 0 because we had height, so our x value here, which actually was a t value, or when we solved for t, so I should have had t equals in all these. T equals, t equals, t equals, t equals, t equals. Does time in seconds equal negative? No, I can't have that. I'm going to scribble out my negative answer. So this is going to be 5.66 seconds, comma, it takes the ride to come to the ground. Make sure you write that out. Make sure it's legible. That's my mess signature handwriting. Last one for the whole try. Let's make it a great one. Some person attached to a safety harness drops from a height of 210 feet. A function that models the drop is blankety blank blank, where h is the height in feet. So h is height in feet, t is time in seconds again. Perfect. But how many seconds does it take to drop from 210 feet to 30 feet? So in the last one, my height was 0. It said 60 to 0. This one says 210 to 30. So what I'm going to do is I know my height, I want 30. So I'm going to make it 30 is negative 60 t squared plus 210. Alright? So you got to know that we're not going to 0 here. We're going to 30. So that's why I got this 30 as my height. Alright, to solve this, I need to set it equal to 0. That's never going to change. So now I have 0 equals negative 16 t squared plus 180. I'm going to do one more thing. 0 equals negative 16 t squared plus 0t plus 180. That's beautiful. Alright. T equals negative b, so negative 0 plus or minus 0 squared minus 4 times negative 16 times 180 divided by 2 times a, which is negative 16. Alright. T equals negative 0 is just 0, plus or minus 0 squared is 0. This actually becomes negative 4 and negative 16. It becomes a plus. Times 180 is 11,520 divided by negative 32. So T equals 0. Plus or minus, well, that's just going to become square root 11,520. I'm going to erase that. I'm going to write what that is. The square root of 11,520 is 107.3 divided by negative 32. Alright, this is confusing to some, but it makes sense. Here is where we split it into our two cases. We have t equals 0 plus 107.3 divided by negative 32. We'll have t equals 107.3 divided by negative 32, which equals negative 3.35. Alright, that's one. Then the other one is 0. T equals 0 minus 107.3 divided by negative 32. So here we have t equals negative 107.3 divided by negative 32. So you can't just drop that, get rid of it, whatever. It's still 0 plus or minus because of this right here. This is a 2. But those negatives cancel out, which we needed because we needed this positive answer. So, time is a negative. No, I'm crossing this one out in blue. 3.35. So, how many seconds does it take to drop from 210 feet to 30 feet? It takes 3.35 seconds. Hey, awesome. Alright, if you got this far, on pace, everything else we've talked about all year, set goals for yourself, you guys are awesome. Alright, I'm happy to have taught each and every one of you. I appreciate you putting up with me all year. I know it's kind of like babysitting for you that have babysat before, but it's over with. You never have to listen to one of my notes videos again unless you're lucky enough to have me or unlucky enough, whatever way you see it. Have a great rest of your year, and good luck on the final.